You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living St. George. I am Star Sterrett. I'm a religious scientist and a practitioner for the Centers for Spiritual Living. And today we're going to do a meditation about awareness. So I invite you to just sit back and enjoy the process. There will be a moment of silence, probably around 4 or 5 minutes. Okay, here we go. There is only one I, and you are it. Everyone is it. It's the one awareness operating through every living form. All physical forms are simply different vehicles for the same one glorious, infinite awareness. This is the true meaning of the teaching. We are one. This very ordinary consciousness, which is hearing these words right this moment and understanding them, happens to be also the divine consciousness that lives all lives. There is not one single separate entity in the entire cosmos. There is nothing out there but our consciousness. There is only one consciousness, and we are it. Awareness or consciousness is all through your body and everywhere outside your body. Awareness can't be contained within your body because awareness is formless. It's the container for all life. Behind your eyes is the same consciousness, the only consciousness that is behind Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, and behind all eyes everywhere. Think about that. Your consciousness is the same consciousness as all the great beings. That's how close you are to them. They are not at a distance from you. You are one with them. The mystery and the magic of it is that this ordinary consciousness that we take for granted, even as far as denying its existence, happens to be the consciousness of the universe itself, its true center. What I invite you to do right now is to put a hand on your heart and either close your eyes or not. Energy goes where attention flows. And as soon as you touch your heart, and you could do this anytime during the day, you can ground yourself in your own experience of awareness. And what we're going to do is just sit and reflect on that. And if your mind wanders, don't try and tell it what to do. Just be and let the thoughts float away. If they come one by one, let awareness itself be aware, and you be aware of the awareness that is watching constantly. Just breathe in and out. The same words that you are hearing right now are the same words that are speaking right now, all in the same container, the oneness. There is only one mind. That mind is God's mind. That mind is beautiful. That mind is my mind now. okay, I invite you to just come back and remember there is a fork in every moment to be what you are or what you are not. You are choosing every second of the day. And so it is.
You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Centers for Spiritual Living in St. George. We really welcome you here. My name is Alan Stanley, and I'll be your host today. We are an open, loving, and inclusive community, and we support creative thinking and living a deeply spiritual life. We have a welcome song that we sang at one time, and I'll introduce our production staff today, so to speak. We got Marina Anderson in the background doing tech. Star Stara just did our wonderful meditation. Gwen Hadley will read our covenant for a new minister. Let's see, Alan Stanley will do the music. And Kelly Casper will be offering our invocation. And our special guest today is Jeffon Seeley, who always has a great message for us. So it's going to be a pretty good deal. But I got a little tune here. It's a welcome tune, and we'll be singing in the background, and so you're welcome to sing along. God is seen. God by many names, love from many hearts. Come inside, you don't have to hide. You're perfect as you are. You're already not alone. Welcome home. Okay. God by many names, love from many hearts. Come inside, you don't have to hide. You're perfect as you are. You're already not alone. Welcome home. Let's sing that one more time. God by many names, love from many hearts. Come inside, you don't have to hide. You're perfect as you are. You're already not alone. Welcome. You already not alone. Welcome home. Our music leader, Cheryl Barlow, wrote that song for us, and it's one of my favorites. I'd like to welcome Kelly now to offer our invocation this morning.
Thank
Hello,
you,
Kelly.
Alan. So continuing in the welcome, continuing in the wholeness that God is, that life is, that love is. We simply breathe in. And we know that the wholeness is part of every face we see, every voice we hear, the movement of every cell and fiber of our very being, the movement of every action of life. And we might call this God, or we might call it love. We might call it universe. It matters not, for it truly is one and the same. And so I breathe into that sameness, into that wholeness, into that knowing. Knowing that that is the very truth of my being. That happiness, that wholeness, that grace, that love, that abundance is part of my birthright. And as I know it is part of my birthright, so do I know it is part of every single living thing's birthright. Every person we meet. And the trees are popping in and saying us too. So the trees and the bugs and the birds and the critters. And we just simply breathe into that knowing. And so from that knowing, from that wholeness, I simply declare this time together to be good and very good. That God, that life, that love leads the way. That every single person who hears this at any moment in time hears everything, sees everything by divine appointment. That sacred yes, that yes of wholeness. And so we breathe into the wholeness. And we notice where it goes in our body, where our attention goes in the wholeness of the world we live on. And I see that earth rise coming up, that picture of the earth from the moon, from space. And we look at that beautiful blue planet, remembering that it is truly one, and we are truly one, and we are whole within that. And so for this noticing, for this knowing, for this movement through our lives, our worlds, I am truly so very grateful for each and everything that reminds me that I am, that God is. And so we take that breath in and we simply let it be, resting back in the truth of who and what we are and whose we are. And we release it into that universal knowing, into the perfection that already is right here. We call it good and very good, and we let it be, knowing it already is. And together we say, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
This song was written by Michael Gott. It's one of my favorite. In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when I feel I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. And I know this voice of love, it is singing through my life. It is all I am, every part of me. It is all I choose to be. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. Oh, I love that song. Thank you, Michael. I'd like to invite Gwen in now. Gwen's going to read our sacred covenant, which is our affirmation, because we're looking for a new minister, and by golly, they're out there, and we're going to affirm it again today. Hello, Gwen.
Good morning, Alan. Thank you for the music, as always.
Thank you.
So I'm very pleased, and good morning to everyone who's out there watching and listening to us. So it's my pleasure to read the Sacred Covenant, and I invite you to read it aloud with me. So there is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. And knowing that I am one with this life, I know that I am one with all its blessed expressions, which include the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to express God, I therefore know that my new minister reveals wholeness. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which we believe, for it is written by Ernest Holmes, let us learn to draw the divine substance down into our own lives, and as freely as it has been given to us, let us give it to others. Thus alone shall we be made whole. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I can see my new minister revealed before me as growing the center in joy and prosperity. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community. Knowing the truth, about myself for I live in the presence and law of God. I demonstrate wisdom through a mature understanding of the wholeness of life. I am accountable and willing to take full responsibilities for my actions. I participate in and support the nurturance and guidance of the community. I act from wholeness and congruence in thought, word, and action. I walk the talk. Please express your truth here. I embrace I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, knowing that they are revealed in a way that expresses God and serves the highest and greatest good for all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful, and so it is. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Gwen. This song came to me some time ago when I was living in Nashville, Tennessee. And I guess it speaks for itself. I studied with the best teachers from winter till fall, and listened to the greatest speakers in the finest of all. But until I found the silence, I had nothing to show. Because there's more in a quiet moment than I could ever know. I've traveled to the farthest corners of this world alone, pondered all the great religions that mankind has known. But until I found the silence, I continue to roam. Because there's more in a quiet moment than I could ever know. There's a place in everybody. Just be still and go, and you'll find in that quiet moment all you wanted to know. In the silence of our souls wait a voice still and small. In a garden full of joy and loving God made for us all. From the heart our spirits calling, showing us the way home. There's so much in a quiet moment. Just be still and go. There's a place in everybody. Just be still and go, and you'll find in that quiet moment all you wanted to know. There's so much in a quiet moment. still and know. The message for this month at the CSL Centers is a holy, holy uprising. And today's talk, this too is God. So I'd like to welcome Jeffon Seeley and get a clear understanding of what that really means. Hello, Jeffon.
Hello,
Jeffon.
Alan.
There
Hey,
he is. Hey,
ta-da. Hey, what a really, really great song. The
thank
importance
you.
of a quiet moment. And I think that really encompasses not only the holy whole, but the holiness of who and what we are. So I really appreciate that. Thank you,
Thank
Alan.
you. Thank you.
Of course. Well, I am very, very grateful to be here again with all of you. I hope that this finds you well wherever you happen to be. Um, it's very fascinating when we come together on Sundays or when we come together in communities, whether that's in person, maybe not so much. We'll be getting to that more and more going forward, or virtually like this. We are bringing with us so much. And while we're only here for maybe an hour or so having these conversations, going through incredible meditations, reminding ourselves through affirmative prayers, affirmations, and a variety of things of that sort, there is so much that is happening behind the scenes in all of our lives. And so I just want to truly acknowledge and recognize all of us for the journey that we are traveling down in this moment of now. Not everybody knows what we may be dealing with, what we may be experiencing. But I hope that you can capture some of the ideas or insights from what I will be sharing here today, from maybe one of the songs that Alan has shared with us thus far, from Star's meditations, from Kelly's affirmative prayer, whatever it happens to be, just please grasp something that you can apply to your life and bring it with you as you continue through the miraculous days that are awaiting you. And know that you can recognize who and what you are. And in doing so, your environment, your reality, your experience will begin to transform. As I was thinking about this topic, which is one that is always on my mind, this too is God, a holy uprising, I have to start with something that is extremely important. And that is individuals at times, and I know that I've been there, have had a very difficult experience in trying to encompass or embrace what the word God actually means. So if you are like me, or maybe think some of those things, remember that the word God can be replaced with the divine, with the infinite intelligence, with energy, with the universe, with love. It matters not what you call it, for it is the very essence that enables us to be. So if we begin thinking about this here for a moment, I would just like to encourage you to ponder this with me. First and foremost, if we are looking at this experience, we recognize that all is divine. Pause for a moment and just think of that. All is divine. The earth that we are upon, the minerals and elements and gases that enable this earth to simply be, the stars that are shining above us, the sun that is shining down upon us, the cells and atoms which are miraculously existing within us, the people who we are around on a daily basis. All of this is encompassed within the infinite itself. Are we willing to recognize that? Are we willing to truly embrace that? Are we willing to stand upon a foundation of truth in this moment of now and say that which we are is brought into existence by the divine that is flowing throughout all things? Are we willing to recognize that? Because if we are, then that entails some level of responsibility that we must move forward with. Which brings me to a question. And the question is simply this. Over the course of this last week, let's just say even this last few days, or you can go back throughout this year, has there been a time where you forgot that you are a part of the divine? What prevents us from recognizing that we are a part of this infinite essence that is flowing throughout the universe? Has there been a time this week where you simply forgot that everything around you was a reflection of this infinite? And I know for me, of course, there has been many times where I had these, so to say, mental lapses that prevented me from recognizing that the divine is not only with me, but is within other people, that is within situations that may be very extreme on the other side of the planet. And am I willing to dive deeper into this foundational element where I can begin to build my reality upon this understanding? Now, I say that, but it's important for us to also remember that we cannot just stand upon this foundation of spiritual truth and say, well, look out here, everything is divine, so therefore there is nothing need from me to actually begin to shift or transform what is occurring in the world. And I know that one thing that really struck a chord with me very early on my spiritual journey, and I've shared that with many of you in the past, is there are times where it seems as if we use this idea that God is flowing through all things as an escape from dealing with the harsh realities that many of our brothers, our sisters, our fellow human beings are experiencing on this planet here today. So I would dare to say that if we truly believe that the divine is behind all things, we cannot just simply spiritually bypass or overlook the harsh realities that some of our fellow brothers, sisters, human beings are going through, but instead dive deeper within ourselves and recognize this infinite essence and energy that we can tap into to begin to show up differently and shift the experiences that we are bumping up against at this day in time. And when I ask myself, what prevents me from remembering that the divine, that God, that the infinite intelligence is behind all things? First and foremost, it seems to be there are a lot of mismanaged memories that are existing within my mind that I can default or go towards and completely overlook the foundational element of truth that I've been expressing. When you think about that in your experience, what is something that simply allows you to continuously forget that the divine is that which is enabling all to be? And I know that if we go back through our experiences and think about the unique journey that all of us have had up to this present moment of now, there have been many times, perhaps many years or many decades, where we simply did not recognize or capture the essence of the divine that is flowing through it all. And I know this is definitely the case for me. In fact, I didn't even have this idea that the divine was all that there was until I was in college. And I've shared this story in the past, but I did grow up there in Salt Lake City, and it seemed in my unique experience up to that time, there was never a conversation in our household that we talked about the divine as being everywhere present. Instead, the religious organization that I was a part of in my early years actually seemed to put God and Jesus and these prophets and apostles on these pedestals that we could never actually reach, continuously fueling this idea of a superior person here and an inferior person here. And as I looked out into the environment, it seemed as if I was always on this inferior tier. So therefore, habitually and subconsciously, I was continuously bringing this into my inner world and beginning to think that there was something less of me, or I wasn't as worthy as the people that were around me or the people who were in these high positions. And I was always seeking something more, something better. And it created this chasm that seemed very difficult or nearly impossible to actually cross. And as I continued to dive down these various paths, and I eventually bumped up against one of my father's friends who was a very spiritual type of individual. And I remember him sharing just a variety of topics and conversations that started to open this doorway within my conscious mind that there was actually more to life than what I was allowing myself to see. How often do we simply view this world, this reality, our infinite experience through this very small peephole and say that that is all there is? And I found that this is true whether it is somebody who may be living in the dark, as I was in my early years, or it may be somebody who believes that they may be spiritual in this moment of now. It is a human condition, it seems, that we view the world through a very small peephole and say that this is all there is. That which I am able to perceive is all that actually exists, without recognizing the infinite that is surrounding even that very small scope of view that we may bring with us into our daily reality. Now, when my father's friend began to have these conversations of expanding my conscious mind and begin to recognize that perhaps there is a different way of viewing things and there was a different way of living, it was then that I started recognizing this beautiful concept of this is God, or this too is God, or the divine, or the infinite intelligence, or the Christ consciousness, or the universal energy that is everywhere present. But it's important. Hearing something and acting as if that seed that is planted within our mind will miraculously sprout into something that is brand new for us is very far-fetched. There have been numerous seeds that have been deposited within our minds, our hearts, and our spirits that have yet to actually blossom and unfold into their true greatness. But if we are willing to not only hear, but be willing to water that seed and sit with that seed, as Alan was saying, in the quiet moments, and begin this infinite venture into the inner workings of our own inner world, suddenly we can start rediscovering and remembering who and what we are, which is in direct alignment with the infinite that is everywhere present. If we give ourselves that permission, suddenly things around us begin to shift and transform. And so as I was sitting with this concept of this journey that I was on, it was very difficult for me to admit responsibility that many of the things that I was experiencing at that time in my life seemed to be out of alignment. And when you start recognizing that this is God, that is God, that this is the infinite intelligence, that there was this energy within me that I am using on a daily basis to help co-create this reality that I am going through, suddenly there was a level of responsibility and accountability that falls directly upon the observer. So I couldn't then start pointing a finger and blaming them for doing this, blaming my mother or my father for doing that, blaming the people in my community when I was younger for not doing what I thought they should be doing. But instead, this turned the mirror inwards and I had to start asking myself the question, how have I been using the energy that I'm showing up with on a daily basis to help co-create this experience or this reality that I am currently observing? Because everything that I see out here in the world has some type of reflection with the consciousness that I am moving around with on a day-to-day basis. Which brings me to this point. There was one aspect of awakening that I think all of us have experienced at one point or another in our life. I don't think that any of us would be here if we didn't at least embrace this seed of awakening that began to blossom into this unique form of what we happen to be going through in this moment of now. And the consciousness is continuously awakening. It is continuously expanding. It is continuously evolving into that which it is, which means there is not going to be another you or me that miraculously comes down from the sky once we capture this new way of being. Instead, it is already a part of what we are. So we are continuously unfolding into our highest and best because the highest and best is already indwelling within ourselves. So are we willing to continue this art, this process, this practice, this miraculous experience of simply awakening to building that foundation of truth, standing upon it and declaring that not only is the divine everywhere present, not only is the divine within us, but we are going to embrace that realization to move forward and begin transforming the world around us. It is not, this is me saying this, you do not have to believe this, but I do not feel that it is about simply saying words over and over again and acting as if it is true, without a fundamental shift internally that actually allows us to move from hearing to believing. And just think about that word believing. We are being it and we are living it. So if we firmly believe that the divine is all that there is, it is not just saying words. It is not just coming together for an hour or a few hours a week, and then for the rest of the week completely forgetting about that and getting wrapped up in the cyclical nature of our lives that may be at times negative or upsetting or inflicting a type of suffering. Instead, it is about moment by moment by moment being that realization, living from that realization, and continuing this art, this practice, this process of awakening, continuing this uprising, this ascension internally that miraculously shifts what's happening within ourselves, and suddenly we start showing up differently. So then our actions are an extension of the divine, so that our words are an extension of the divine, so that our emotions, our thoughts, the choices that we commit to on a daily basis are an extension of that divine presence that is indwelling, that it is a part of us, that is nearer than our atoms, than our cells. It is that which simply is. Are we willing to go through that process? Or is it easier for us just to come together and say, yeah, the divine is everywhere present, but then on Monday morning we wake up, or Wednesday morning we wake up and look out into the world and we completely forget that realization? Because if that is the process and I'm speaking to myself, then I'm just simply hearing, I am not being. And what we do not need, or what I do not need, is more intellectual bricks of knowledge that I am accumulating within my conscious mind that makes me feel egoically as if I am realizing this profound truth, but not practically applying those intellectual bricks of knowledge into assembling something in the external world that not only benefits me, but makes a positive and empowering impact upon all. And we all have that ability. If we think of some of the greatest transcendentalists, Ernest Holmes, Myrtle and Charles Fillmore, Ralph Waldo Emerson, it was more than just hearing. They believed it in such a way that it began to flow out in the words that they started jotting down, the words that they wrote. If we think about Martin Luther King, it began to flow through in the words that he chose to say, and also the rights or the initiatives and the objectives and the vision that he was willing to stand for. If we think of any of the enlightened individuals who have graced this planet, the Buddha, addressing suffering, seeking enlightenment for self, realizing that perhaps he could find a way to transcend his own internal suffering and bring this teaching to others. If we think about Jesus, helping individuals recognize that in the same way that he was aligned and connected to the divine, so is everybody else. And there was not a middleman that is needed to get to this higher ascension. We do not have to operate in this dyad of superior, inferior, but we all are inherently worthy simply by virtue of being able to be here in this moment of now. If you think of all the other enlightened mystics, it wasn't a magnification of themselves. Instead, they used their light to shine it upon others and help them recognize the light that they were moving around with. And there is no better time than now for you and I to begin this process. But in order to do so, we must be willing to look out into this sacred earth that we have to call home and admit some responsibility here. Because everything that we are seeing in the world has something to do with what is taking place within ourselves. That is from the micro level, individually. So if we look around our reality in this moment of now, everything that we see, everything that we are experiencing in our lives has something to do with the common denominator, which is ourselves. We cannot escape that. Are we willing to embrace the divine tools that we have come equipped with and see that we are actually using these divine tools to assemble that which we call our lives? And then from the macro, everything that is happening on this planet has something to do with humans. And I'm talking about the human condition here. Whether we're talking about wars, and there's a lot of things happening in the Middle East and with the Palestinians, with the Israelis, not just there, even here within America. There are all of these things taking place, and everything has some connection with ourselves, with the consciousness that we are moving around with. And just from an observational standpoint, it would be easy for an individual who is new to this teaching to look out and simply say, I don't see how the divine can be everywhere present. And that was my number one thing that I would question when I first moved towards this teaching, this understanding. How can you say that the divine is everywhere present when there is so much suffering and hardships taking place on this planet, and even suffering and hardships taking place in my own life? How can you say that? And the way that I answer that now, because I sit in meditation and I sit and ask myself this all the time, is I simply say, well, in the external world, there is some type of reflection of what is happening internally. So the more that I'm willing to embrace those quiet moments, the more that I'm willing to venture within my inner world, those deep caverns that I often avoid or overlook or neglect, and begin to heal or resolve or recognize more of who and what I am, suddenly then the world around me begins to transform. And if we are talking about the great macro struggles that are happening on this planet, how can I then, as an individual sitting here in California, change that which is happening out there? And the greatest thing that I can do is start right where I am with the people that I see on a daily basis in conversations such as this, and hopefully, collectively, we can remind one another of the light that is dwelling within ourselves so that we can begin to show up differently. And to the degree that we do that, everything around us will begin to transform, which brings me to this miraculous, this phenomenal, this incredible understanding that that which we are waiting for is not a lightning bolt from the heavens to come down and change everything. What I believe we are waiting for is for all of us, you, me, we, to realize, to remember, to come back into alignment from the understanding that the divine is a part of who and what we are. It is all that we are. And we can use this energy that enables us to wake up, to move, to breathe, to exist, to have our being, to move forth into our days, using this energy in such a way that we bring light, hope, peace, positivity, compassion, love, kindness to others. Which means we are that which we have been waiting for. This too is God. This too is the infinite. This too is the divine. We are it. It is flowing through our consciousness. It is that which enables us to think our thoughts. It is that which enables us to show up on a daily basis. And I've shared this with CSL St. George before, and this is probably the easiest place to start. Because I know, I talk to my mom, I talk to my sisters about this, and they always say, okay, Jay, they call me Jay. You say all this stuff, but what do I do? Sure, okay, the divine is everywhere present. We can begin to recognize that we can shift the world around us. We can align with books or read things that can help open our minds to these new places of realization or new points of understanding. But what do I do? How do I do it? And for those of you who are asking this, we need not look very far because it is already a part of that which we are, and it is these paintbrushes of life. We are coloring our canvas of our individual lives. We are coloring the canvas of the collective reality that we as human beings are experiencing in this moment of now on a moment to moment basis. And every day, today, we are provided with a blank canvas that we could color any way that we choose. And this canvas reflects the experience that we call our reality. And those paintbrushes, very simply, for those of you who don't remember, the first paintbrush is that of our thoughts. We are thinking day in and day out, and those thoughts are crackling, are sparked by the infinite, by the divine. We would not be able to have a thought without the divine energy that is dwelling within us. Those thoughts fuel emotions. So therefore, the emotions that we are experiencing are also fueled by the divine, by the infinite energy that is indwelling, that is always a part of who and what we are. Those thoughts and emotions bring us towards that third paintbrush, which is our choices. We are always choosing and deciding how we will show up, what we will do, the thoughts that we'll reflect on, the activities that we'll participate in on a daily basis. Nobody can choose what you will do but you. You can be influenced to choose certain things, but you are the chooser, you are the decider in your experience. And the final paintbrush is that of our actions. Nobody can act for you. Nobody can open the doorway of your heart or conscious mind to begin to share the gifts that only you can share. You are the actor of your experience. Thoughts, emotions, choices, actions color this canvas that we call our lives. And my friends, I believe that if we are willing to do this, if we are willing to embrace all of these concepts, I know we've been all over the board. I know that I've shared a variety of things that even I will have to go and sit with. I think then we could sit back and declare that yes, the divine is everywhere present. The divine is all that there is. And while there may be hardships and suffering occurring in our world, we can begin to align or build upon this foundation and show up differently. And we can transform things right where we are by way of embracing those paintbrushes, thoughts, emotions, choices, and actions, which are fueled by the divine. And miraculously, things around us will begin to shift because there has been a transformation, an awakening, an uprising within ourselves. So bringing it all the way back to what I said at the beginning, regardless of what you may be experiencing, regardless of the hardships or the beautiful moments that you may be currently going through, I'm encouraging you to bring one idea with you, whether it's from something that I said or something that many of the other enlightened individuals in this session here today has shared. Just bring one thing with you to move forward throughout this week and beyond that will help you stand upon that foundation that the divine is everywhere present and that the divine is all that you are. I wish you nothing but the best as you continue down this beautiful journey of life. And please be willing to share your light, because as you do so, you help others find their way and also recognize the light that is shining within them. Peace and blessings. And here, I would like us to simply go into a brief affirmative prayer by closing our eyes, taking a deep breath in, sending that breath out, feeling the ground beneath you or the seat that you are sitting upon, recognizing the divine within you, around you, encompassing all. From this space, know that there is one, whole, perfect, complete, the very energy that enables the sun to shine, the earth to spin. It is flowing through all. It is flowing through you and I, for we are one with this sacred energy. It is that which enables us to think, to move, to exist, to have this experience of life, realizing that we are divinely led and guided to share our light, to share our gifts, to build this foundational truth that the divine is not only with us, but with all. And can we use this energy that enables us to be, to simply bring a transformation to our fellow brothers and sisters and human beings that we have the privilege to share this moment, this planet with? May we simply rest in gratitude, knowing that regardless of the difficulties or hardships, regardless of the beautiful mountain peaks of abundance and happiness, regardless of what we may be going through, there are innumerable things for which we can be grateful for. May we simply rest in gratitude, knowing that as we do so, we open the doorway for more blessings, more reasons to be thankful, to flow not only into our lives, but flow into the lives of others. Recognizing the one, embracing the awareness that we are one with the one, realizing that it is the one that is guiding us as we move throughout this moment, and anchored in gratitude, may we release this out into the infinite, knowing that that which we continuously send out comes back to us multiplied abundantly. So let us be sure that we are sending out that which reflects the awareness that God is all there is. From this space, let us release it and simply say, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Jeffon. I'm gonna start calling you Jay. That was great.
Thank you, Alan.
I like the part where we don't need a middleman. That was profound, and that I actually came to that realization myself some time ago. So look forward to having you back, my friend. That was absolutely great.
Thank you.
Blessings to you and your family, and we'll see you soon. Namaste. Well, you got to keep tuning in because we have an array of guest speakers every week. Somebody different comes along, and that's pretty hard to beat. Because you just found this idea that Jeffon shared today, and every Sunday we have the blessing of a enlightened, as he said, speaker sharing with us. So the selection committee for our minister is still hard at work, and we know that that person is out there. And as we get more news about it, we'll let you all know. And just got to wait. The door's going to open here pretty quick. The CSL annual meeting is coming up. Excuse me if I get right in your face here, but it's Sunday, May 23rd, which is from 2 to 4. There won't be a Zoom meeting that weekend. It's going to be out at the local park here on Dixie Drive. And we're inviting you to come out. We're going to share some music, do some updates of what's happening at the center, get to see each other in person again. So please put that on your calendar to come out. It's a beautiful park out there, and it's going to be a beautiful day. So we'll get that done for once a year. I always thought, as some of you may know, I traveled a little bit. And from unities and CSLs all over the country. But I've always felt that I would share my treasures where I'm spiritually fed. So if you feel that you've been spiritually fed here today, just help us keep the virtual doors open, so to speak. And there's several ways you can spread the love. You can give by text, PayPal. You can scroll the little image, I got to learn what those are called, there on the bottom, or you can actually write a letter and put it in an envelope with your check. So we look forward to seeing you again, and thank you in advance for your treasures that you're sharing with us. So we have a Zoom meeting, community conversation. It's our way of the after service meeting and with the snacks and everything, but you're just going to have to bring your own snack to this one. But it's at 12 o'clock Mountain Time. The Zoom link is in the newsletter and the Friday reminder that goes out. And it's also on our website, on our homepage. And I happen to know we got a couple of first-time visitors with us today, so we'd love for you to just click on that Zoom here on the hour and come and get to see each other again, and it'll be a great time. So just join the conversation. We're still here to help you. Our community care circle is very active. Our practitioners are willing and waiting to be contacted. If you feel you'd like somebody to talk to or you want to share some prayer with somebody, you can reach us. You can go to the website prayer@cslstgeorge.org or even call the number and leave a message, and somebody get right back in touch with you. So next Sunday will be Steph Swink, our speaker, and she's great. And then following that, Eugene Holden will be along. And so we look forward to you joining us again to share these great speakers. I would like to add one thing here before I get to the end of this road. If you would hit the like button, if you're watching us on Facebook down there, you can hit that like button and just put the word out. It really helps us a lot. I don't know if YouTube has one, but if it does, hit it too. Hit them all. So we appreciate that in advance, and that'll keep the door swinging. So this is our closing affirmation. We're going to bring the production team, I got a new title for them now, up here, and we'll read it. No fear laughing. And so here we go.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all that I do.
I am it, I embrace it, and I share it.
Just the way that it is.
And just the way that it is becoming.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Life.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you again next week. But don't forget, here in about 4 minutes, we'll be on Zoom. And hopefully you'll show up and we'll visit a little bit more. Have a great week, everybody.
Thanks, Jeffon.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Jay.